Hey y'all, this is David. This is our barnyard find that we're going to start restoring here. As you can see, it is right-hand drive because this is an old postal car. So let's open the door. Again, we have all the controls on the right-hand side, being a postal car. Shifter, of course, faces the other direction. This is basically a Japanese spec car. So we got the radio, gauge, everything still works. Not a crack in the dash. Got some creativity here on the part of the former carrier. And some slots here for those big mail totes that you typically see. The back seat is actually in perfect shape. I've got it folded up at the moment because I was trying to get to the gas tank. And like every wagon, it's got junk in the trunk. That's the way we like them. As for the body, she's not too bad at all. Passenger side, somebody whacked her here in the front. Until we get back here to the back, you can see some bubbles coming through here. These are bad. Oh yeah, look at that. They're going to catch all kinds of dirt up under this fender lip. That's why they all rot out. Thankfully, the plastic liner is still in shape. It's not too bad down the side. So, however, when we get down here to this corner, it looks like it's been slinging salt, mud, everything it can up in here for the last 30 years. You can see the rust already eating through the metal right there. And when you go to underneath, she gets real ugly. Oh yeah, it's gonna be fun. A little more rust. Might have to pop this window out. Try to treat this. This is some pretty hard rubber. Got a hole here where it's already, rust is trying to prevail there, so we'll have to stitch that up and neutralize. Of course, like a lot of these cars, this painted stainless molding is still intact, but that paint loves to just peel off. The roof, almost spotless. Hardly a ding or dent in it, other than some dirt. She needs a good washing. Let's see. Wiper arms, well, that's no big deal. We're not concerned about those. The front driver's side fender here looks perfect. The marker light is good. Headlights are intact. We can probably clean those up. You know, a little bit of surface rust. Of course, this side of the car, this door, would have seen more than its fair share of bushes and mailboxes, and pretty much everything else you can imagine is going to be on the driver's side of a mail route car. And as you would expect, this side has got its share of rust, so this is obviously going to have to be repaired. Looks like it might have been pulled out once before, but the majority of it, the metal at least, is still here. But gosh, all this dirt, that just holds moisture and it makes them hot. Some of this undercoating has survived it and preserved it all these years. But up here on the front, this side's even worse. Because if you think about it, this side would be in the mud more than the other side, because these drivers going off-road only on one side of the vehicle typically. If you know what a rural route is, you know these guys spend half their time one tire off the road and one tire on it. Alright, so now we're going to take a look under this side. And ooh, yeah, rust is ripe. However, these control arms, sorry if it'll get in focus here, control arms are still in good shape. That's all just surface rust. They need to be cleaned up. The majority of it is. Now, somebody, of course, has already cut out the catalytic converter in this thing, which you would expect on a car 30 years old. But the floor pans might be salvageable. I could probably clean them up, hit them with a little POR 15. But this mount over here for this rear suspension is looking a little shady. We'll have to get that, drop it anyways, and I'll show you why. If you didn't notice it the first time I was on this side of the vehicle, Here's the nice rust with room for small forest creatures to live inside. And here are my gas lines. At least this here is the vent tube. These have a rollover vent. You can probably hear the ball in there rattling, right? And then this is the return line to the tank, I believe. And here's the parking brake cable. And right here is the feed line for the engine. Now you can see up in there what's left of some of these metal lines. I know it's pretty dark, but we're going to have to drop the tank in order to get a good look at what's left of these, which is going to be very little. So you can get to the fuel pump inside the tank, but as you can see, this is all-wheel drive. So the rear end and the suspension's got to come out, because this is a saddle style tank. There is actually a jet pump that you can't see from here that transfers the gas from this side of the tank over to the other where the main fuel pump is. So we'll go up top and check that out. Alright, here we are inside. As you can see, the rear drive shaft has already been removed from the car. More on that later as we get into the engine side of things. And I got us a lovely box of stuff, luckily on wholesaler closeout from Rock Auto. I think I paid 50 bucks for everything in the box. Bunch of tools. Let's see, some stuff from the previous owner. Got the center console with a creative solution for a rear power jack. Got an intake manifold that came off of a newer, I believe a 98 Legacy. Now I've already taken the speaker covers off up here, because this is also how you get to the shock top or the strut top, whatever you want to call it. So there's our mount. That'll be coming down later. We'll have to get to those bolts in order to remove the rear suspension, at least the easy way. So as you can see, these speakers, I don't know, they might have a little life left in them. It's got the factory radio. It still works. I know that much. And the previous owner was kind enough to throw in some parts that he had purchased. Here is the, well, would technically be the passenger side rear emergency brake cable, which is no longer available from Subaru, so this is a wonderful thing. This is brand new in the box. Probably worth more than I paid for the car. I've got another factory radio, which apparently this one works, just no display. I have the factory awesome cassette edition. I mean, I don't know what else you could ask for here, bud. I mean, this is hi-fi. And the glory of it all, here we go. Spotless, all we get be them muddy corner lights. This is a pre-facelift car, so this shit is getting fun to find. Pardon my French. Here's the one I need for the passenger side, left-hand side of the vehicle that's broken from the previous accident. New blinkers. The blinkers on this car, since it's pre-facelift, of course, they are built into the bumper and not built into the side marker housing. And yet another piece of Holy Grail equipment, Legacy Wagon taillights that are not cracked, not shattered. They still have the goo. If you don't know that these lights are actually bolted in, you can see the bolt. In addition to that, Subaru saw it in their wisdom to glue these things to the car. So, and this one here is in really good shape. It's got a few light scratches on it, and I think we can take care of that. These ought to buff up real nice once I get into it. And I got some other stuff. Got a front cup holder, or at least part of it. And some more miscellaneous trim pieces. Quart of oil, only one of them, which is a good sign. And, hey, buddy, we got some marbles. Can't leave home without that. And, fascinatingly enough, we also even have the original owner's manual, service warranty record book, all kinds of fun things. So, quite a bit of nostalgia to go with the car as well. Oh, and well, we know what that carrier was doing. Ever run a white mails late? Now we know. So, here's what we got so far. Headliner's in great shape, albeit a little dirty. Still have the lights in the back. Everything in here just pretty much needs a bath, I tell you what. So, let's get on the fuel pump. Now we're on the driver's side, the right-hand side of the car. I've removed the fuel pump access port here, and it looks like, by the shape of that non-factory hose clamp right there, this is not the original fuel pump, which does not surprise me one bit. So, but again, this car's been driving down the road, slinging salt, slinging dirt, slinging everything up on top of this fuel tank for years. Luckily, I don't smell gas, which means the fuel tank itself is probably still intact. However, these rubber lines are very short. Probably won't be able to see them, but they go straight into another metal line, which is the one that carries across the car to this side, and that is the jet pump we were talking about earlier, right? That's the one that transfers from one side of the gas tank to the other when the vehicle gets low. And then, right, there's where our lines are coming out. You can see one of them right there. That's part of the metal line that's rusted in half on the other side of the vehicle. So, again, dropping the tank, we're going to get these boys out. I was fortunate enough, as you can see by the marker paint, you can tell that this is a junkyard mirror, which is in relatively good shape. This obviously came off of a left-hand drive car, so it was not beat to hell and wobbling off the car like the Postal version was. So, the door itself, well, you can see, this joker needs help. The armrest is breaking off. It's missing the trim. This is what you get when someone's elbow has been on the car for 20 years, 300,000 miles, probably 500 mailboxes a day. I mean, really, you can't complain. This poor car has seen hell 365 days a year for its entire life. Now, we're missing the knee panel, but I think it was taken off to check the codes, because if you know on these cars, there's two connectors down there. You have to plug them together and then read the lights off of the check engine light up here. Just like anything before 1996, each individual car manufacturer had their own style. At least Subaru made it easy on you. Plug up two wires, count the number of flashes, that gives you the codes. And this little guy right here is the park interlock override, I suppose. At the moment, this is the only way to get the car out of park. Now, when you hit the button, if I actually press this with the keys in the car, you can hear a click up under the dash. So there's some kind of solenoid that's firing, or relay, should I say, but I think the solenoid inside the gear shift assembly here is not operating properly. Here is the replacement radio that I already picked up online. This is the fancy unit that has all of the nice controls built into it, so there's not a separate tape deck. Comes with a nothing underneath. I made a little filler plate just to be nice, keep stuff from flying in there. And oh my god, what? Oh man, I just hit pay dirt. $10. Oh yeah. Look at what else is in here. Let's see. Man. Oh my gosh. Look at this money. Money on you everywhere. There's at least $3 in there. We'll total this up and put it on the project fund. Right up there. Cha-ching. $10. Who'd have thunk it? I'm a rich man. I know what you all want to see, because this is where it always goes to, right? Well, first of all, here's the hood. One little spot of rust. Looks like somebody shut the hood on something, because that is definitely a high spot. Alright. And looky there. She's a beaut. Clean as a whistle. Now, we got good washer tank. We got good coolant tank. Those are always good to see. I've removed the battery, obviously, for storage and for safety. But everything else on this Joker looks good. The engine bay is relatively rust-free, surprisingly. I was expecting everything on these front beams to be just rusted out. But thankfully, they have survived the onslaught of salt and snow in Kansas. I'll save it for the brake booster. We'll clean that up with a little rust on him. It'll be alright. Connor Dog is attempting to help. How are you doing, Connor Dog? Doogie doogie doo. Say hello. It's a very good puppy dude. He's a sweet puppy. Yes. Him loves to help. And he loves to crawl under the cars when I have them on jack stands. Yes, he does. So, let's go see and have a look around. The muffler is shot, so this thing sounds like a hot rod. Or is that just a heat shield? It might just be a heat shield. Nope, that's just the outer case of the muffler. Looks like it's 2-ply. But let's see. We have got plenty more rust to deal with. You can see the sway bar hanger on this side. Might be salvageable. I'll probably just use some universal ones or grab some off a boneyard car. The car does at least have a rear sway bar. Now the exhaust has obviously been worked on before. We've got lots of scale. Goodness. Rear end is in good shape. You can see this is a 411 rear end. So that's good for burnouts, of course. Right? Right? Yeah, definitely. However, look over here. Oh, Lordy be Jesus. Look at that poor sway bar. I bet you that was a rattling. But the mount itself appears to be solid. It looks like just the carrier here, or the bushing, strap, whatever the heck you want to call it. That joker is just rusted loose and it's gone. So, still connected at the bars. Brakes are not too awful. Shocks are still in one piece. More rusty goodness all over the place. This is mostly shit that can be repaired. A little POR 15. It'll be up under the car. It'll never see the light of day. But we want it to be safe of all else. Alright, well, that's about it. However, like I said, here's the gas tank from the back shot. You can see her two sides just a bulging, like a big old gal should. And, oh, there's some tubes right up the middle, if you know what I mean. So, got to get that tube out of there so we can drop down my lady. And what we're going to do is the way you can do on these Subarus, which is nice. If you look right up here, there's two big old bolts. And there's another pair further up near where the jack stands are and the forward control arms, or trailing arms, connect into. Well, pop that joker loose, pop these two nuts on either side, and this whole joker comes out in one big old freaking chunk, which I love. So all I've got to do is drop the exhaust, which this ain't gonna take long, I tell you what. It'll probably just take a hacksaw to it and be done with this shit. Make room for a cherry bomb later and a turn down. And we can get this whole thing out in one big old piece. It's still on the tires, so man, we'll just roll it right out from under the car. Sounds like a plan. I tell you, I do love these exhaust tips though. Look at that. Look at that. That just means business. No pea shooters here, baby.